Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Herve Bossin.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. What a nice crowd. Really great. We're going to change a little topic. We're going to be talking about mosquitoes and the disease they transmit across the world, and in particular in Pacific Islands. All right. Have any of you ever wondered how deadly mosquitoes can be around the world? If you've ever wondered, the next slide I'm going to show you is a diagram of how bad the situation is, and you'll see the numbers are really staggering. In fact, mosquitoes are the #1 deadliest animal on the planet. They kill nearly a little over 700,000 people every year. It's far more than ourselves as humans killing each other, and it's far more than sharks themselves. Sharks, they're little game players in the crowd. They're only 70,000 times less killers than mosquitoes if you compare them. So that tells you how bad mosquitoes can be. And this is because mosquitoes, some species at least, they transmit infectious diseases that can be deadly. And we're not even talking about for the mortality, but in terms of morbidity, there are a lot of diseases that are transmitted by mosquitoes that are also of concern. So there are around 3,500 species of mosquitoes in Earth, and most of them are totally harmless to humans. It's only a handful, several species of mosquitoes that are actually a source of nuisance and a source of disease transmission. You're familiar, for some of them, about the Anopheles mosquitoes that transmit malaria, and also the tiger mosquitoes that, as you can see, are very present around the world in the tropical and also subtropical environments. They're around your homes, they're around islands, they're almost everywhere. And this is because of us humans. For some of the species, like the Asian tiger mosquito, which comes from Southeast Asia, they've been transferred and dispersed around the world because of us through transport and commodities around the world in a few decades. In French Polynesia, we're almost lucky to only have a couple vector species, and basically this is what we're after. Targeting only a couple mosquito species in French Polynesia will resolve the issues of mosquito-borne diseases. So why disease outbreaks in the Pacific matter? Just to give you an example, Zika. Are any of you aware of Zika? Have you heard of Zika in the recent past? Yeah. So Zika has been a real pandemic in the last several years. It actually hit French Polynesia 2 years before Brazil. This was the first occurrence of a very severe outbreak due to Zika in the Pacific. French Polynesia, as you can see, has been the very hot spot for then transmission around the Pacific. You can see the dynamic of diffusion of Zika stemming from French Polynesia. It's been a very, very, very distinct dynamics, which was very severe. This is due because people move around. This is island Earth. We all travel around, carrying with us some viruses and going to places for tourism, for instance. And then we get bitten by mosquitoes, which then transmit the disease across in the local communities. So in the midst of the Zika pandemic, the World Health Organization emitted a report on the emergency response against Zika. And a couple of recommendations were very important to us. First of all, the strengthening of the classical vector control intervention, which, as you all know, today relies mostly on the use of spraying insecticides, which is not good for the environment and can be harmful for public health. And also, the WHO also encouraged the evaluation of novel mosquito control strategies, and there are 2 innovative strategies that were of particular interest. I'm going to emphasize in my talk on the last one, the suppression of mosquito vector populations using a novel approach. And this novel approach is called Wolbachia. This is the Wolbachia technology. And we've used it in a field evaluation to demonstrate that we can use Wolbachia bacteria to suppress mosquito populations. So Wolbachia is a group of symbiotic bacteria that are very, very common. They're very common in butterflies, here in French Polynesia, in fruit flies, in cockroaches, also in mosquitoes. And they're in French Polynesia and around the world in 60% of all insect species that we know of. Those bacteria, Wolbachia, they are present in the host as symbionts, and we have harnessed their ability to impact the reproductive capacity of the insects they're in. And so the purpose of the Wolbachia technology is to mass-produce male mosquitoes that have Wolbachia, that are incompatible, to mass-produce them, release them in a sustained and in non-native manner in the field, so that they can mate with the wild females and thereby sterilizing those females. The mating of an incompatible male with a wild female makes the female sterile, and she will lay eggs that will never hatch. It's a dead end for the field population. It's zero hatch of those eggs. So you may wonder, but wait a minute, this is about mosquitoes, so we're going to be bitten if you release male mosquitoes in the field. Well, the good thing is male mosquitoes don't bite. It's only the females that bite. They don't bite, they don't transmit diseases, and because they're incompatible male mosquitoes that will sterilize the females, they have no future in the field once released. There's no offspring as a result. So we've come about to do a field operation on the atoll of Tetiaroa, which belongs to the Brando Family Trust. It's a private atoll, which also is the stage of a luxury hotel, the Brando, that opened a couple of years ago. So we established a very interesting partnership between a public institution, Institut Louis Malardé, and a private hotel here in French Polynesia. So the Wolbachia pilot intervention that we have conducted was based on the suppression on the Polynesian tiger mosquito through sustained releases of those incompatible male mosquitoes, monitoring the targeted population of mosquitoes. And this trial was completed in early 2017 with outstanding results. Just a few illustrations to show you how we've proceeded. Mosquitoes were produced in the lab here in Tahiti at the Island Mosquito Laboratory, and they have been produced in mass every week. And those are a few illustrations. Male mosquitoes were separated from females using a mechanical sorter, a separation that is very efficient. And they were then packaged and transported to Tetiaroa by air using the local airline. The pupae that were transported were then transferred into small release buckets for emergence. And once the male mosquitoes have emerged, after a couple of days, they are ready for release. In the course of our project, we have been very fortunate with the encounters of some of the local Brando guests. And certainly one of the memorable encounters was a very prominent guest, which was present in March of this year. And this is former President Obama, who granted us a visit at the Tetiaroa ecostation, Tetiaroa Society ecostation. And former President Obama even agreed to help us with the release of male mosquitoes at the site. An outstanding guest for a great outcome. We have performed this field operation and validation over a significant area of treatment. Over 3 million males have been released in the course of this operation, and the mosquito population has collapsed in less than 6 months. That's 99% mosquito suppression. It means in the field, you can go out in the forest and there's no bites, none whatsoever. It's a sustainable approach that is done without the use of insecticides. So you can easily understand that this is a win-win technology. It's a win for us as scientists because we've been able to establish a very convincing demonstration. It's also a direct win for the owner of the hotel because they have now an environment where they can host guests without concerns for mosquito bites and mosquito disease transmission. And today the guests are our best advocates for the technology as a fact. So evidently this has been high media exposure for us. In some of the National Geographics, quite useful for and standard for scientists, but also in media that we are not so accustomed to, in particular in People's Magazine and the Hollywood Reporter. We are now ready to move toward island scale operations, and this is where this brings us to the seasteading. Back in March, Randy and Mark Collins had organized a meeting in Moorea to talk about the potential relationship and the common interest that there were between the seasteading institutes and the French Polynesian research institutes. And this has brought about some very fruitful discussions and ideas. And as a result came up a project, a concept of bringing together biology and engineering to design a floating platform that will allow us to produce mosquitoes closest to the release sites. So in other words, a floating platform that would allow us to bring mosquitoes, produce them, mature them close to those islands of the Society Islands and beyond. So as you can see, Society Islands offers a great range of different islands with different areas that need to be treated, and we can really scale up the operation as we go. So the question is, to me, in terms of modularity, sustainability, the renewable energy, and the water supply and the sustainability, those are common concerns of the seasteaders. We've heard throughout the couple of days the same technological challenges that will be coming about. And the platform that we're thinking about really is facing the same technological challenges. The question then is, will you seasteaders and the Seasteading Institute be part of what is going to be a technological, very disruptive technology and a paradigm shift in the way we do vector control? Would you be part of this scaling up operation that is coming in the next years to come? So seasteaders, engineers, investors, I welcome you to our upcoming event in November of this year, and this will be taking place in Moorea for the International Workshop on Innovative and Sustainable Vector Control Strategies in the Pacific. We will be happy to host you for a hopefully very fruitful discussion on mosquito vector control, and also sustainable platforms for those control of mosquito-borne diseases in the field. And with that, I will say thank you.
Thank you so much, Herve.